It's a withering assessment of where we are. But the Remainers, there is no end to their Brexit derangement syndrome, and they're willing to just ignore the fact that we shut the country down on and off for 2.5 years and blame a democratic decision chosen by a majority of Brits in 2016.
Yeah, it's extremely disingenuous of them to use the language that they've used this week and say that Project Fear has been vindicated. They seem to be rewriting history here and redefining Project Fear.
It's taken a long time for Project Fear to kick in.
Well, yes.
We were told it would happen straight away.
Well, yes, that we would be in a year-long...
Pounds, house market crash, spiralling interest rates.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's 2022. Finally.
Yes, year-long recession, I believe, and that our geopolitical standing...
Capital flights.
...would be diminished, all of these things which didn't come to pass.
Oh, and of course, there'd be no trade deal with the EU either.
Yeah. And so they've decided to then redefine what Project Fear was about, and apparently instead that they were apparently arguing that with Brexit that would unleash a new era of, political hubris and uncompromising politics and instability, and that apparently Liz Truss is the culmination of that. And I think that is quite an interesting view to take, seeing as the political hubris, if you want to take that turn of phrase, actually predates Brexit. If you look at the Cameron era, we decided to go for austerity, an economic strategy which had no basis in standard economics, completely a political, ideological, quite extreme strategy. And then, of course, even before that, the Iraq War, the idea that we were going to liberate the Middle East through bombs. So we see this kind of extremist, technocratic ideology. I would say this tendency to reduce kind of laws of unintended consequences, the messy aspects of democratic negotiation, the complexity of the world really into very simplistic theories, scorched earth solutions and top-down execution without any accountability. So we are being gaslit. We are being gaslit to put it simply.
Well, I think that's right. And obviously a democratic mandate has been, a huge attempt. The media, a political elite have tried to reverse Brexit. Luckily, it didn't happen. The will of the people prevailed. And it was Project Fear, but I think it's going to turn out to be Project Fab. And I say that as a Remainer. And the reason why is because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, Brexit is an insurance policy against ever being in the euro.
Yeah.
It's an insurance policy against those billions of pounds being sent over to Brussels every month, a single European army, and propping up potentially bankrupt EU states. There is a Eurozone sovereign debt crisis coming, and it won't be our problem.
Yeah, and also when time is tough and money is tight, we won't be pumping lots of money into the EU. So because
when you're one of the bigger economies, you always got punished for that, didn't you? Because it was a percentage of your GDP. Yeah. So the better you did, the more you paid.
Yeah.
So it's a racket, isn't it?
Yeah. And, we are going through an economic paradigm shift, and we need, personally, in my opinion, to be in a political environment where we are sovereign and we can hold our politicians accountable, because that was one of the real disadvantages of being in the EU was that, our politicians basically outsourced all of the tough decisions to Brussels, and they didn't want to take any responsibility. But at least now politicians can own their decisions.
And we're nimble-footed.
Yeah. And nimble-footed,
we've got control over our economy. And I mentioned that insurance policy against the euro because the risk with EU membership, you're just one administration away from signing up for the euro. And at that point, there's no Brexit if you're in the euro, if you're in the Eurozone. Brexit was possible because we were fiscally independent and outside of the euro. Credit to Gordon Brown for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't often give him props. Look, we're at the top of the hour, but can I just ask you how you see this political drama playing out, Liz Truss? Your colleague, Chopper, he thinks she'll soldier on into the spring of next year.
Well, she's a useful puppet now, unfortunately. I think that Hunt, Osborne, Axis have her where they want her, and she is just executing the will, if you like, of a particular section of the Conservative Party, the
So
Conservative tradition. But
right.
there is a term in chess called Zugzwang, and it means that there is no good move left. Every move that you make is a bad move, and that's where the Conservative Party is.